Good morning, all of you. We have now on the seventh lecture of the data communication. In the last lecture, we have learned the transmission media and we have learned mostly the guided transmission media, where we have discussed the features, applications, and principles of operations of guided medias like twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, as well as the fiber optic cable. Now today we have to start with the topic unguided media or wireless media. So what is the unguided media? If you have to be seen, the name is very much clear, wireless media. Unguided media transport electromagnetic waves without using physical conductor. This type of communication is often referred to as a wireless communication. So we have to know the electromagnetic waves spectrum is there. So this is the diagrammatic view of the electromagnetic waves. That is start from the 3 kilohertz to the 900 terahertz. So up to the 300 gigahertz, you can consider it as in the range of the radio wave and microwave, where the maximum communication occurs. Most of the communication we have to do day-to-day life is either it is in the radio wave or either using the microwave. Another category is there infrared, that is 300 gigahertz to 400 terahertz, and after that there is a light wave is there. So we have to learn today three important wireless media like radio wave, second microwave, and then infrared. So unguided signals are travel from source to destination in several ways like ground propagation, sky propagation, and line of sight propagation. It is a mode of propagation. So before going to the actual wireless media, we have to be little bit take a knowledge of the way they use for the propagation. Okay. Now, if you have to see in ground propagation, radio waves travel through the lowest portion of the atmosphere, hugging the earth. This low frequency signals emanate in all directions from transmitting antenna and follow the curvature of the planet. So from the diagram it is very much clear. The first one is representing the ground wave propagation. Below 2 megahertz it is a low frequency signal, and here you can see that the wave is propagating across the curvature of the planet. Okay, so this is ground wave propagation. If you have to see, this is the lowest portion of the atmosphere. Second one is that and the distance depend on the amount of power in the signal. The greater the power, greater the distance in the case of ground propagation. Second one is the sky propagation. In the sky propagation, little bit higher frequency radio waves would be used, and these radio waves radiate upward into the ionosphere. So what is the ionosphere actually? The layer of the atmosphere where the particles exist in terms of ions. So where they have in this particular ionosphere, these waves would be reflected back. It would be do not penetrate, it would be just reflected back to the earth. This type of transmissions allow for the greater distance with a low output power. In the previous case, as a ground propagation, we have to be required more power for more distance to travel. But in this case, we have required as compared to that low amount of power for the greater distance travel. So if you have to see from the diagram, the second one is the representation of the sky wave propagation. Here you can see that from one of the base stations, the radio wave has been propagating, and when it would be reached to the outermost layer of the atmosphere, that is ionosphere, and from this ionosphere it would be reflected back to the other base station in the earth. So in this way the sky wave propagation would be happening, and the frequency of propagation or communication is little bit larger as compared to the previous one. It is in between now 2 to 30 megahertz. Okay. Now the third kind of the propagation is line of sight propagation. So very high frequency signals are transmitted in the line of sight propagation, and these high frequency waves are transmitted in straight line directly from antenna to antenna. Antenna must be directional, facing each other, and either tall enough antenna, the size of the height of the antenna should be very much tall enough, or if it is not very much tall, so it would be close enough together, so that it would be not affected by any obstruction or the curvature of the earth. Okay. This is the condition for the line of sight propagation. So through the diagram we can see the third one is representing the line of sight propagation. So in this case you can see here, both the antenna should be so much tall that it would be directly communicate with each other in a straight line. Okay, it is not affected by the curvature of the earth, and it is very high frequency, above than the 30 megahertz. So these are the three methods for the propagation of the signals, either it is a radio wave or the microwave. Okay. So on the basis of this principle of propagation, we have to learn the type of the wireless media. Before that, we have to see little bit the one table where I have just categorized the frequency band of the signals, their ranges, their type of propagation, and application in day-to-day life. So you can see start from the very low frequency, that is in between the 3 to 30 kilohertz. They use the ground propagation method, and the application of this kind of the signal would be in the long range radios. Similarly, if you have to come to the low frequency, again it would be 30 to 300 kilohertz. Similar method, ground propagation, and again it is used for the radio beacons and the navigational locators. Third one is the middle frequency in between the 300 kilohertz to the 3 megahertz. This is using little high frequency, so it would be used as sky propagation, and AM radios are example of this. We have to be in every household there is some radio, and that would be having the facility of the AM radios are there. Similarly, the high frequency, that is in between the 3 to 30 megahertz, it is also using the sky propagation, because up to the 30 megahertz the sky propagation is there, and the citizen band radio, ship or aircraft communication, we use this high frequency signal. If you will be increase the frequency between 30 to 300 megahertz, it would be called as a very high frequency. Here we would be use a sky and line of sight both. So the TV broadcasting, FM radio broadcasting, that would be use this particular range, very high frequency. Now little bit move upward. So ultra high frequency, where 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz, that would be used as a line of sight. Cellular phones, paging, satellite, UHF TV, all this using the line of sight propagation. Okay. And super high frequency 3 to 30 gigahertz, it is again using the line of sight propagation. Satellite communications. In the satellite communication, you can take as a television broadcasting as well. Also now the satellite televisions are also available. And extremely high frequency 300 gigahertz to 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz, that is used in the application of the radar as well as the satellite. So these are the some category of the frequency wise distribution of the signals, and their propagation methods has been also indicated in the table as their application. So this is for your general knowledge, it is required, so that you would be correctly correlate the terms where we are actually using these methods. Now come to the wireless transmission frequencies again. That whatever the section we have to be required to learn in this particular lecture, but we have to be learn about the microwave, that is between the 2 gigahertz to 40 gigahertz shows, that is used in the microwave, highly directional, point-to-point communication, satellite communication. Then again 30 megahertz to 1 gigahertz where we have to use the radio waves, and we use the omnidirectional antennas, and the other is the 3 into 10 to the power 11 hertz to the 2 into 10 to the power 14 hertz, that is the infrared signal. Okay, so these are the three categories which we have to be learned as per the syllabus. The first one is out of these three are radio waves. You have to be see in the right side there is a diagram is shown, that is the indication of the omnidirectional antenna. So electromagnetic waves ranging in the frequency between 3 kilohertz and 1 gigahertz is normally called as the radio waves. Radio waves for most the part are omnidirectional. So what is the omnidirectional? When the antenna transmit radio waves, they are propagated in all directions. Such kind of antennas are called as the omnidirectional. There is 100 types of, more than 100 types of antennas are available for the communication purpose. But out of that, we have to use the omnidirectional antennas for radio wave propagation. Omnidirectional means an antenna transmits the radio waves in all the directions. This means the sending and receiving antenna do not have to be aligned. Like the line of sight, it does not need to be aligned. The sending antenna sends the wave that can be received by any receiving antenna. Any receiving antenna in the periphery of that particular sending antenna. Only frequency should be matched. The omnidirectional property has that previously that we have learned, that is advantage of omnidirectional, that we have to not required to be aligned, but the other is the disadvantage is there. The radio waves transmitted by one antenna are susceptible to the interference by the other antenna that may be sending the signal using the same frequency. So that is the main one of the issues related to the omnidirectional antenna. If suppose nearby omnidirectional antenna is also using the same frequency, then there is a chances of the interference of the signal. So that we have to be try to avoid this when we have to be using the radio waves. Radio waves, particularly those that propagate in the sky mode, can travel for a longer distance like AM radio. Radio waves, particularly those of low or medium frequency that can penetrate the walls. So it has an advantage. Radio waves having the property that it could be penetrate the walls, means it could be coming from outside of a building and can enter to the inside the building. This is having the advantage of the radio waves. For example, we can see the AM radios can receive signals inside the building, or either FM radios also. If you have not used the AM radio, you have definitely used the FM radios, because it is also available with our mobile phones as well. It is having the capacity to penetrate the walls. That's why we are able to hear or listen the music inside the home that is broadcasting outside that, but from home. Okay, so these are the some advantages of the radio waves. Now, what are the applications of radio waves? We have to be see. If you have to be see the applications, the omnidirectional characteristics of the radio waves makes them useful for multicasting. What is the multicasting is there? Where one sender but many receivers. This is called the multicasting. So radio waves are used for the multicasting application. One sender, multiple receivers. Like television broadcasting, like radio broadcasting. One sending station or broadcasting station, and that could be listened by the multiple user at the same time, maybe thousand, maybe lakhs of users. So AM and FM radios, television, maritime radios, cordless phones, and paging systems are the example of the multicasting or the examples of the radio waves. You can. So that much of the application that we are using day to day life. So this is all about the radio waves. Second one is the microwave. So it is again the means of the frequencies only. Electromagnetic waves having the frequency between 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz is called the microwaves. Microwaves are unidirectional. When the antenna transmits the microwaves, they can be narrowly focused. This means that the sending and receiving antenna need to be aligned. In the case of radio waves, it does not require to be aligned. But in the case of microwave, as we have increased the range of frequencies, the focus rate would be increased, and that requires the sending and receiving antenna should be aligned for the proper communication. So microwave propagation is also one kind of line of sight, you can say, since the towers would mounted antennas need to be direct sight of each other, and towers that are far apart need to be very tall. So nowadays also you have to be see the mobile towers and other towers in your house. So in somewhere the buildings there is some mobile towers are there, or you have to be see the uh, Doordarshan television stations where the height of the towers are very much high, and there is some cylindrical uh, parabolic kind of antennas are installed on the tower. That is nothing but the example of the micro that requires the two antennas should be aligned, okay, or it should be maintain the line of sight. Then only this kind of the signal could be transmit or received properly. Repeaters often used for the long distance. If you have to you want to use a microwave for the longer distance, you have to be required a repeaters, which is the need of the communication. So very high frequency microwaves cannot penetrate the wall. This is the another problem with this. In radio waves having less frequency, so it can penetrate the wall, but microwave having the higher frequency, so it can't be used to penetrate the wall. This characteristic can have a disadvantage that if receivers are inside the building, it does not receive the signal. The microwave band is relatively wide and almost 299 gigahertz. Therefore, wider subbands can be assigned and higher data rate is possible. This is the advantage of microwave. The data rate is higher as compared to the radio waves. It means you can be send the data more faster as compared to the radio waves. Use of certain portion of band requires permissions from the authority. Again, there is one of the issues. This is a technical aspect. Even for the radio waves, you have to be required a permission from the authority. If you want to use some band for broadcasting, you have to take the permission. Similarly, in the case of the microwaves. So there are basically you can categorize the microwave in the two different categories. One is a terrestrial microwave, second one is a satellite microwave. First of all, we have to see what is a terrestrial microwave. It is used for the long haul telecommunication and short point to point link. It requires a few repeaters but line of sight. It is using the parabolic dish antenna to focus an arrow beam onto the receiver antenna. The range of frequencies of 1 to 40 gigahertz. High frequency would be give you higher data rates. It would maintain the source of losses. Here the main source of loss is attenuation. So how the attenuation occurs? Maybe the distance between the two antennas is very high. So there is a chances of attenuation of the signal. If rain is falling, then it's also one of the reason for the attenuation. Generally, we experience this problem when the rain is falling and we want to see some channels on our television network. So our dish antenna would be start to stop work for the heavy rain. Also, some interference also responsible for the loss of signals you can see in the case of microwaves. Okay. These are the antennas basically used for the transmission of the microwaves. This is the first one is the parabolic dish antenna, second one is the horn antenna. So both are used as per the application changes. You can see in the parabolic dish antenna, these are the multiple signals are coming on the particular this parabolic structure of the antenna, and then it would be reflected back. And after reflection, it would be meet to a common point, or you can say it is focused on a common point. That is called the focus. This is the way that this particular parabolic antenna works. So it would be catch wide range of the waves and directed on a particular one common point. So this is in this way, it is more focused operation by the parabolic dish antenna. Single point receiver. Multi-point sender, but single point receiver. Similarly, the other kind of antenna is a horned antenna. So it is, you have to be see, it is just like a gigantic scoop like structure is there. Here the scoop like structure is. Okay. So outgoing transmissions are broadcast using a stem, this particular stem, and reflected outward in a series of narrow parallel beams. So this is the way that two antennas are used. If you have to see, microwave is a separate subject. It is a very wide aspect of discussion, but as per the scope of our syllabus, we have to be just little bit take the introductory part. Another kind of a microwave is a satellite microwave. So what is a satellite microwave? In this case, satellites are working as a microwave relay station. So it is used to link two or more ground-based microwave transmitter or receivers known as the earth stations or ground stations. So here we have discussed how the satellite actually works, and they would be work on the frequency range of the microwave. It is mentioned here, the satellite is used to link two or more ground-based microwave transmitter receivers known as the earth stations or the ground stations. The satellite receives the transmission on one frequency, that is called the uplink, and transmit after amplification of the signal, after repetition of the signals as per the requirement. These signals would be again retransmit to the another frequency band, that is called a downlink. So generally, in the case of microwave communication, uplink band having the frequency range of 5.9 gigahertz to the 6.4 gigahertz, and downlink is having the 3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz. Both is having a different frequency band. Never the uplink band and downlink band would be same. Otherwise, there is not proper communication would be had. Both would be always different. So this is the frequency band over which your satellite would be either transmit or receive the signals. A single orbiting satellite will operate on a number of frequency bands. A single operating satellite will operate on a number of frequency bands called the transponder channel or simply a transponders. Okay. Typically, for a satellite microwave, it is required to be having a geostationary orbit. So what is a geostationary orbit? Can anyone has any idea? Which kind of orbit is called as a geostationary orbit? It is a required condition for satellite communication. Anyone has any idea regarding the geostationary orbit? Anyone has any idea? GSAT. Okay. But actually, it is one of the GSAT is a satellite. Okay. But what is actually the geostationary means? Geostationary means what? Geostationary means what? The here it is mentioned typically require geostationary orbit. Means what? Whatever the satellite that is, uh, you can say, rotating around the Earth, and in its orbit, the speed of that particular satellite or the position of that particular satellite in such a way that it would be remains stable with respect to the Earth. Okay, so that kind of the satellite is called the that kind of the orbit is called as the geostationary orbit. So from in the case of our Earth, where we can got this particular position where the satellite and the Earth would be remains stable with respect to each other. This is at the height of 35,863 kilometers at the equator. From the equator of Earth, it should be located at the height of 35,863 kilometers. Then and then only it would be act as a geostationary orbit. And another is case, maybe there is a possibility that two satellites would having the similar kind of the frequencies range. So it could be interfere with each other. So for that purpose, it is also required that two satellites should be spaced at least 3 to 4 degrees apart to avoid this kind of interference. These are some technical requirements that we have to fulfill. And what is the use of the satellite microwaves in the television broadcasting? Okay, Talha has given the correct answer for the geo satellite stationary orbit. Good. So the applications are in the television, broadcasting, long distance telephone networks, private business networks, global positioning systems. We use the satellite communication net. Okay. So this is the diagram representing the satellite point-to-point communication that we have discussed in the terrestrial microwave. One Earth station, sorry, satellite microwave. So one Earth station to the another Earth station using the single satellite. So one Earth station is transmitting, then it would be amplify and repeat the signal from the satellite, and then again retransmitted on the downlink to the other ground station, or maybe it is a broadband or broadcast link would is also there. Then the satellite, a single satellite, there is a one single transmitter, and that would be received signal received by the one satellite antenna, and then it would be after amplification and maybe modification of the signals, it would be again retransmitted to the multiple receivers. So both the way that you can do the connections. Okay, now if you have to be see, there is a third kind of the signal that is called the infrared. See, the infrared signal is there. So what is infrared? Infrared waves with frequency from 300 gigahertz to the 400 terahertz. Means the wavelength is of the 1 mm to 770 nanometer. Can be used for the short range communication. Can anyone give me the example of the infrared communication? It is useful for the short range. Can anyone has the idea of infrared communication? You can speak also. Okay. Blu-ray player. Okay, good. Anyone? Others? I have shared you the attendance link also, and it would be valid only after 10 minutes of the lecture, and then it would be closed. So this is the frequency range for the infrared 300 gigahertz to the 400 terahertz. It would be modulate the known coherent infrared light. It would be use the line of sight. Okay. It would be blocked by the walls. This is the problem with the infrareds are there basically. No license are required Instead of that, there is also one of the association is made up, that is IRD. IRD is infrared data association, that would be regulate the infrared speed and other things are there. TV remote. Okay, Tala has given the correct answer for the infrared. So the typical application is in the TV remote control, IRDF ports like this. Here you can, or the mouse you can use the infrared, PCs you can use the infrared, in wireless keyboards also you can use the infrared. Like these are the applications where we use the infrared. It has a very limited uh, range. Okay, so even it is not able to penetrate the walls. Means from one room to another room you can't control any object that is controlled by the infrared. It is depend upon the line of sight. So very limited range is there, but lots of application in our day-to-day life. Okay, so you have to be also use the infrared is here. Now we have to be see the taxonomy of the transmission modes. So what is the taxonomy of the transmission modes are there? Anyone has any idea? There are two taxonomies which generally we use. One is called the parallel, another is called the serial. So a transmission mode is, it is another topic. The transmission mode is the manner in which the data is sent over the underlying medium, either it is a wireless medium or a wired medium, whatever. Transmission modes can be categorized into two categories. First is serial, and second one is the.
Sir, pakad pen.
Second one is. Second one is parallel. Multiple bits are sent at the same time. Okay. So this is the categorization of the transmission mode. Serial and parallel. Serial could be further subdivided into the asynchronous, synchronous, isochronous. So all this we have to be learn. So first of all, we have to learn about the parallel transmission. So what is the parallel transmissions are there? So if you have to be see, parallel transmissions allow the transfer of multiple data bits at the same time over the separate media. It is used with a wired medium. The signals on all wires are synchronized so that a bit travel across the each of the wires precisely at the same time, because the signal on all wires are synchronized. So all the wires would be sent the wire on the same time. Okay, this is the diagram that would be give you the more clear idea that how the communication occurs in the case of parallel transmissions. So here you can see a sender and a receiver is there. There is a multiple wires. There are 8 different wires that is connected between the sender and the receiver, and at a time you can send 8-bit data, and the speed of the transmission is very much fast in the case of parallel. Okay, and all wires are synchronized to each other. So if you would be send 8-bit data at any time, that would be received by the receiver at the same moment of the time. So in the parallel transmission, there is a this figure is with two important details. What are the parallel interface usually contains other wires that allow the sender and receiver to coordinate. And to make the installation and troubleshooting easy, wires are placed in a single physical. If you have to be see, wherever there is a parallel mode of transmission are used, so these all wires would be placed in a single physical cable. Best example, you can see the inside the CPU. Anyone has seen the CPU inside the structure of the CPU? Anyone from your class? Anyone has? No response is coming. See, inside the CPU there is a motherboard is there, there is a CD, DVD player is there, there is other sections are also there, SMPS is there, multiple sections are there. So if you have to be see, there is inside the computer, there is a parallel communication is there, or any device inside of any device, it is CRO, DSO, there is a parallel communication happens for the faster transmission of the data. Okay, so in that case, you have to be see in the CPU, there is some group of cables of the different colors would be bunched together. Okay, so why it is do so? For better installation as well as making the troubleshooting easy. If any problem is coming, we have to come to know each particular section there is a problem. So for that purpose, it would be placed on a single physical wire either, or maybe bunched together. So this is the main reason. A parallel mode of transmission has two major advantages. High speed is the first, because it can send the n bit of data at the same time, and it can match the speed of underlying hardware. Whatever the hardware speed, it could be matched with that. So these are the two important aspects of the parallel transmission. So next type of the transmission is the serial transmission. But now the time is very much less, so I think we have to stop here. Now it is for your discussion session. So till whatever we have learned, please, anyone has any issue or problem, you can discuss with me. We have nearly 1.5 minutes of the lecture. It is also very much required that you have to be share your problem, whatever you are facing, to learning this particular subject. Anyone has any issue, you can ask me. Now 1 minute is remaining.
सर
Yeah.
अटेंडेंस फॉर्म ओपन नहीं हो रहा है मेरा.
मैं अभी तो I have open now. You can again retry. If still it is not happening, then tell me. I have opened the link. Other any problem related to subject? Okay, one more request. You have to just register for your NPTEL course compulsorily. Today is the last date. So compulsory you have to at least register for one course. Okay. And send the screenshot to your tutor. Okay, thank you, all of you, for joining the lecture.